The Rise and Shine podcast series is made possible by the generous support of Bonnie Vozar of Chicago, Illinois.
Those educators helped raise my kids alongside me. My oldest child's grade 1 teacher had such an influence on my family that I feel like I owe much of the decisions and resulting outcomes that we raised our kids with Jewishly to her.
This is Rise and Shine, a podcast that offers timeless wisdom and uplifting meditations to fill your heart, feed your soul, and start your day on a positive note. Here is Adrienne Gold Davis.
This morning, as I was scrolling through my Instagram, I saw this clip from a film I haven't seen in years. Do you remember the movie Wonder? It stars Julia Roberts as the mother of this young boy with really severe facial deformities. His name's Augie. And after years of homeschooling him and protecting him from the outside world, his mother decides it's time to send him to a mainstream public school for 5th grade. So the scene that I watched brought the parents of a young boy who had been mercilessly bullying Augie into the principal's office. And of course, the principal suspends the boy for his behavior, but the parents refused to accept those consequences and they defended their kid instead. They argue with the principal and they make excuses and rationalizations for the poor moral and social behavior their own son had exhibited. Now, the interesting thing was that the boy who had done this, he was visibly shaken by his parents' lack of empathy. He was sorry for what he had done. He understood why he was out on suspension. He got it. And, it made me sad also because it's a classic example of that new world order. I think this dangerous narrative started with The Simpsons and became very popular since, which is to make the parents imbecilic and make the child the wise one. So wrong. Anyway, more importantly, it highlighted the lack of respect for authority and the diminishment of honor for our places of education, and by extension, the very value of teachers. As we ready ourselves to send our kids back to their schools, be they primary, secondary, or college environments, it would be very useful to put the bar back up and remind our kids that the honor due to parents extends as well to their teachers. I remember when one of my kids was younger, he would come home from school in such a state, acting out, freaking out, screaming, whining, and crying at the front door. And I thought something was going on at school. So I went to the teacher to discuss it. But she told me, he's perfectly well behaved in the classroom. So my pediatrician tells me that often, well, certainly in that generation anyway, that kid's 30 now, kids held it together in school and then came home and let out all that they had suppressed all day on their safe place, their mothers. And he assured me that this was very typical and that given that he was functioning properly in the classroom, that I could take confidence in knowing I'd raised a kid who was capable of good behavior. He was just saving all his stuff for me. Well, my kids knew anyway, with clarity. Disrespecting their teachers was equivalent to disrespecting their parents, because this is the 5th commandment. And barring, God forbid, abuse, of course, that's a whole different story, they were expected to uphold it always. So this summer, I had the greatest privilege to lead a momentum trip, especially geared towards educators. About 90 teachers and administrators from around the world came to Israel for both personal and professional development. What a week I had with them on our trip. Women of such depth and substance and focus, such givers. Not a moment was wasted, and I learned so much more than I taught. Learning in order to teach is actually a foundational principle in Jewish tradition. Rabbi Yishmael in Pirkei Avot, which is, as you recall, Ethics of Our Fathers, holds that studying with the intention of passing wisdom on to others guarantees divine assistance in both understanding and teaching the material. Just imagine the understanding a teacher must contain. They're like an overflowing font of wisdom. The late, great Lord Rabbi Jonathan Sacks once wrote this: long ago, the Jewish people came to the conclusion that to defend a country, you need an army, but to defend a civilization, you need schools. In his Lessons in Leadership, Covenant, and Conversation, he wrote the following: teachers are the unacknowledged builders of the future, and if a leader seeks to make lasting change, they must follow in the footsteps of Moses and become an educator. The leader as teacher, using influence over power, spiritual and intellectual authority rather than coercive force, was one of the greatest contributions Judaism ever made to the moral horizons of humankind. Now, this is not to say that teachers don't also have a responsibility to personal humility. In the Talmud, it actually says, "From my teachers I learned much, from my colleagues even more, but from my students most of all." The Torah commands us, teach these words repeatedly to your children. And in the Talmud, we learn that this term for children, banim in Hebrew, also refers to students, which implies this is a culture where all of us are both learner and teacher. The teacher must also be a role model. Rabbi Moshe Feinstein noted that every Jew is effectively an educator through their actions, as behavior acts as the primary text that others read and emulate. And Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel once wrote that it is the personality of the teacher, which is the text that the pupils read, the text that they will never forget. So while there are many parts of my life I have very little memory of, I can tell you that my teachers, both the ones I loved and the ones not so much, left their mark on me in a way that almost nothing but my parents and siblings did. My parents helped navigate the school system with me, and then I went on to help my own kids. And yeah, from time to time, I would be disappointed in their teachers. But for the most and majority of this part, those educators helped raise my kids alongside me. Their influence found its way into our household. My oldest child's grade 1 teacher had such an influence on my family that I feel like I owe much of the decisions and resulting outcomes that we raised our kids with Jewishly to her. Now back to school again is close at hand. This week, can you consider consciously elevating the role of the teacher for your children, highlighting the reverence and import for their work? Because that makes you a partner. And with the other most important influences in their lives, even when they're with you. Even if they don't know it now, one day they will look back with wonder at the gifts they were given by the other people who helped build them into adulthood. Let's do it. Society and civilization needs it.
Thanks for listening to Rise and Shine. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to Momentum Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Join Adrienne again next time for more timeless wisdom and uplifting meditations that fill your heart, feed your soul, and start your day on a positive note.
This podcast was made possible by the generous support of Bonnie Vozar of Chicago, Illinois. Spread the wisdom. Inspire Jewish individuals around the globe by supporting Momentum's podcasts. To sponsor, contact podcast@momentumunlimited.org. You're listening to a Momentum podcast. For unlimited inspiration, wisdom, and empowerment, visit momentumunlimited.org.